Are y'all ready to get this started? 3, 2, 1. Hey, I know what time it is.
You know what it is.
You are now tuning into the best business radio program in Central VA.
Turn it up.
On the mic with Mike on WJFM Radio.
I just wanted to take an opportunity to welcome everyone to Brunswick County. We have some of our board of supervisors here with us this morning, our county administrator. We have Dr. Barbara Jerry Harris. Please raise your hands so everyone can see you in the back. She's on our board of supervisors along with Dr. Seward as well. Although today he's here speaking from a business. He has a new business in Brunswick. And so we wanted to bring that diversity of a board member who also is an entrepreneur here in Brunswick County. Our county administrator, Ms. Leslie Weddington, is here. We have our support staff from the IDA. We are true partners. Where there's one, you see the other, and all staff included. And I don't want to leave you out your name again, sir.
Dr. Brody from Integrity Marketing.
Okay, very, very good.
He's a good friend of John, from John Gray.
Oh,
You guys were on the panel we did in the Tri-Cities.
the Tri-Cities panel.
See, that's what you do. You know, I come here and I invite people. That's when you come home.
When you come home, that's what you do.
Exactly.
That's what you do. And so I just wanted to officially welcome everyone. And at this time, I will do formal introductions of our panel, and I'll let Mike introduce his support staff as well. We'll start here on the end with Ms. Tatum.
Good morning. My name is Moana Tatum. I am a small business owner here in Brunswick County. I own a business called The Power of One. It is for family enrichment and community development. And of course, I am been born and raised here in Brunswick County all of my life. So I'm so happy to live here. I live in the heart of downtown, to live here and to have a business here. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Kelly Suazo Davis. I'm co-founder and CEO of Anchor in Leadership. We're a leadership development firm. We relocated to the Chesterfield region about 2 years ago. Been in business for 7 years. We provide coaching, consulting, and training for staff and senior executives. Thank you, and I'm excited to be here today and just serving and building the bridge between Chesterfield and Brunswick.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Charles Davis. We're co-owners and founders of Anchor in Leadership, which is my wife Kelly. I have a unique position. We've been in here for 2 years, hit the ground running. I'm in the military, about to retire out and come straight on board. So we bring all that leadership, but also just community engagement as well. So thank you for having us, and look forward to serving our community.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm David Denny. I'm the Executive Director of Virginia's Growth Alliance, which is our regional economic development organization, of which Brunswick County is one of our treasured members. In another life, I'm an economic development consultant with a comprehensive economic development firm out of North Carolina, and have been in the business now for about 22 years. I'm a native of Danville, Virginia, so I know this area just from growing up and driving down to the coast, but I have the very honored, distinguished privilege to be able to now work in the area and really enjoying myself. So thank you for having us.
Awesome.
Hello, my name is Angela Edmond. I am a native of Brunswick County and the Executive Director of Turning Point Youth and Family Services. Turning Point is a private behavioral health organization providing mental health support services to children, adolescents, adults, and families in need. And it's an honor as well as a privilege to be here today, so thank you for inviting me.
Awesome.
Good morning, my name is Shelby Brown, and today I'm a representative of the Metropolitan Business League. And about 6 months ago, I took a huge leap of faith and shifted gears, and I now serve as the Director of Marketing and Communications for NBL. I also am a reporter for WTBR, Channel 6 News. So I bring a unique perspective because I get an opportunity now to use the storytelling skills that I have been using for about 30 years as a journalist and putting it into good use for NBL, telling the story of NBL, what we do, how we support small women and minority-owned businesses, and also telling the stories of those businesses. So just happy to be here and happy to take part.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Martin Short. I'm with the U.S. Small Business Administration. I'm the Economic Development Specialist, Public Information Officer. I'm based out of Richmond. And so I've been working with Alfreda very closely because I'm a native of Brunswick County and graduate of Brunswick Senior High School. Why are you laughing, Mike King? and graduate of St. Paul's College. So, you know, I made a commitment to make sure that I do my part to give back and to support the efforts that she has and that the county has in terms of economic development, vitality, whatever the case is. So I do write an article for the Brunswick Times Gazette, typically monthly. It's an op-ed around business development. And so I'm very happy to be here, and the fact that we're doing something like this, you know, things happen when you're meeting with people and you're interacting. So thanks a lot.
Good morning. I'm Natalie Hodge. I am the owner of Rudy's Girl Media based in Martinsville, Virginia. And I am here because we are going into our second season of a show called Hometown Hustle. It's about entrepreneurship, how small businesses in small towns make a big impact. I'm here with my partner and fellow producer, Hassan Davis, and we are so excited that as a part of season 2, Brunswick County will be featured. And so it's really a treat to be here with you today, and I'm excited to learn more and more about this amazing place.
My name is Shelby Brown. I'm an operator of Browntown Farms here in Brunswick County. I'm a Brunswick County native, and after I got back from college, I decided to come back home to Brunswick to make an impact here in rural America so we can expand our reach not only in Brunswick but other areas by feeding people who are in need.
And your jelly jam or whatever was his killer, for sure. It was a big hit.
All right, so good morning, I'm Alfonso Seward. We actually have Getting It Done food truck, and I also have Impartial Mind Criminal Justice consulting firm. In my full-time life, I'm a college professor at Southside Virginia Community College. I'm really here just to learn and absorb all of the knowledge that's in the room.
Good morning. My name is Mike Dottie. I'm the Executive Director of the Brunswick County Industrial Development Authority, Along with my partner, Ms. Reynolds, we are working to change the paradigm of Brunswick County. I was not born here, but I did get to Brunswick County as fast as I could.
We'll forgive you for that, Mike.
Hello, I'm from a longer distance. I'm Barry Moore. I'm from New Jersey originally. Came to Central Virginia in 1999. Worked at Haley Buick GMC for 20 years. Got very involved in the community. Worked with over 600 nonprofits when I was at Haley. I was on the giving side versus now as a nonprofit. I have a handout, and it's been different. But the Better Business Bureau has been around since 1912. We are a nonprofit. We are not a government agency. Our brand is we start with trust. And so every for-profit or nonprofit can be accredited. You cannot join our brand. You have to apply, and then you pay a fee. But we can revoke your membership at any given time. So right now, in this day and time, from 1912 to today, I believe that ethics, morals, and trust could help us bring. We're going to be the glue, I believe, as a brand, not personally. But I did kind of retire, moved to Pittsburgh, and I came back for this one mission because I believe the community's got so much to offer. And Brunswick County's in our region. So thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, welcome. Lauren?
That's what you do.
Oh, yeah.
Would you introduce yourself? Yes. Okay. Your timing is perfect.
Is this me or is
Yes.
this me? Do I stand?
Totally up to you.
Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Lauren Methina, and I am the Director of Economic Development and Community Engagement for Mid-Atlantic Broadband, which is a 501c4 middle-mile fiber optic network that started in Southern Virginia in 2004, funded by the Tobacco Commission and the U.S. government through the NTIA and EDA. And we now own over 2,000 miles of fiber that connects from from the East Coast right along 58 that brings you here to Brunswick County and beyond all the way over to Patrick County. And then we basically cover Go Virginia Region 3, so if you're familiar with that lingo. But Brunswick County is part of all of our regions no matter which way that you look at it, and so I've been working with the team in Brunswick County for about 4 years, for as long as I've been part of MBC. In 2020, we created the Sova Innovation Hub, which was created by Microsoft Philanthropies through a TechSpark program. Southern Virginia was one of the first 6 localities in the country selected to be a tech spark community. And that is built around the data center community that's in Mecklenburg, expanding to Brunswick.
Definitely.
Yeah, there's a lot of change and construction happening in the future of Brunswick, we know, between Microsoft and NBC, and the Sova Innovation Hub is working with Go Virginia Region 3, Brunswick County, and all of the partners to create a more vibrant entrepreneurship and small business community, which is what really excites me about the connection between Richmond and Brunswick, because there's so much energy around the entrepreneurship ecosystem in Richmond, and how can that be expanded. Just an hour and a half away. Sorry again for not being here.
Okay, I failed to introduce myself. My name is Alfreda Reynolds. I serve as the Director of Economic Development for Brunswick County. I also serve on the Go Virginia Region 3 Council, so I kind of wear 2 hats in this, and so it's near and dear to my heart to host the Brunswick Business Summit and have you here in Brunswick County. We've worked very closely with Mike King, have a going commercial there. We've done some live interviews there. He's drug me around from place to place.
And now you got me here.
And now I have him here. And so the rest is history from that. And so we're just excited to have everyone here today to talk about the cutting edge of what's happening in Brunswick County and what's on the rise, and how we all can interconnect, how we can network together and make Brunswick County better in terms of building a business ecosystem of sorts, in terms of engaging entrepreneurs, sharing resources and networking, and just see how we can collaboratively make it happen. I do ask now that before Mike comes on, because I want to turn it completely over to you, make sure that as we speak, I know they're recording, if you would ensure that you're in the mic so that everyone can hear you as we are recording, and make sure our cell phones are off. Mike, it's on you.
Alrighty, well, am I good? You're good. Alrighty. Ladies, what am I starting with? That's where I start my show. So my name is Mike King, and I have a radio program. It's called On the Mic with Mike. It's part of the Mike King Biz Radio Network. And what that is it's a program about business. It's a business show. It just so happens that it's on ESPN, and people think that's crazy. Because why would you have, and I tell people the first letter stands for entertainment, and so that's what it is. But it's a program, and it's a whole belief system that business can help society be better. And that's what we do here. So I have we put this crew of business people who believe that same thing. Last year, we donated 19,000 minutes of free airtime to nonprofits. We give them time to talk about what they do. I don't work for the radio stations. I'm out there on the streets hustling. And so people say, how do you do it? I look at Alfreda and I'm like, I got this idea. Would you help? Or Barry Moore, or the Davises. So what I'm going to do is we're going to talk about the connection of business, this ecosystem that's in Richmond, what we've created there, what you guys have here, and the connection. Like I said, so a while back we had done one of these in the Tri-Cities. And so we're going to make the connection between Richmond and Tri-Cities and Brunswick, talking about the business communities. It may seem far to some people, but business travels. And that's for sure. And money doesn't stay in one place. Really quickly, let me go down. And so the people that I brought with me, I keep my crew kind of tight. And so Alfreda, I met her through my man Martin Short through SBA. And so when I was coming down in here, my wife was like, where are you going? I'm going to Brunswick. Where are you going down there for? I'm like, I'm going to see Alfreda. She goes, oh, you're in good hands. I don't have to worry. Because it's like, you're going to Brunswick? People are like, why are you going down there? So Barry Moore is a person, so he's with the Better Business Bureau. They have a program with us, but it talks about trust and building trust with businesses, and that's a part of this. So Barry Moore is here with us. Martin Short, SBA, when everyone wanted to know what was happening during the pandemic with PPP and EIDL loans, I'm sitting with SBA Martin Short and Carl Knobloch every week, so I became that person. Brody Rotzel is with marketing, and I know him from the chamber in Colonial Heights, as well as it's the newly formed Sova. So he's here with us, and we have Emmanuel Pedoza. Okay. So he's a video expert. If you ever need video work done, Emmanuel DB Arcade is the one to do it. He is part of the crew. He came down here and Al Green is on the sounds. We go back to our conservative radio day. Shout out to all my good friends over there. That's where we got my start. So, what are we doing here today? We're talking about business and the collaboration between business, community, and the Brunswick ecosystem. So, let's start off. We're going to talk entrepreneurship. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to the gentleman, David. So, you looked up like, why are you calling on me? Because when we talk about, you're going to lay the foundation of what's here, and then what we're going to do is talk a little bit about the collaboration and that. We're going to touch on the nonprofit space, and then we're going to talk to the entrepreneurs. So when you know something, the way this program works, I'm not a real journalist, trust me. I'm just a guy that has a microphone. And when you have something to say, we're going to talk about, this is a time for Brunswick to shine. We're going to give you a platform to talk about what we're going to do. We're going to record this. We're gonna make a video out of it, and this is gonna play one day in the near future on ESPN Richmond. That's I'm on 5 to 7 there, and that's 106.1 ESPN Richmond. Alrighty, so David, the floor is yours. What is the atmosphere now as we're coming out of COVID? And when someone says Brunswick, what do people think, and how's your organization play a part in it?
Oh, that's a lot to ask.
I got one good question per show, sir.
Let's see if I can remember what the first question was. I think it's an interesting time to be coming out of the pandemic the way we are, especially for entrepreneurship. I think there's been a major shift in thinking about work. And at the end of the day, entrepreneurship is about work. You can start out with a great idea, but at the end of the day, you've got to foster that idea, create a business, make an income, support your employees if you have employees, that type of thing. But where that normally had happened in the past, what you immediately thought of was, let me go to the office down the street, or let me go to the factory up the road. And all that has changed. So I think we've got, and a lot of people begin to question what am I doing with my life? You know, I've got a passion for this, but I'm doing this. Maybe I should pursue that passion. So I like it because I think a lot of people are being bolder as they come out, that life is not as settled and as predictable as we all thought it was going to be. You know, I think, at least here in this area, I would think that, you know, people like Alfreda and others that I've met today, which has just blown me away talking to people on this panel, there's so much energy around creating new opportunities. And that's it. It's creating new opportunities. An entrepreneur starts out by having an idea. To me, when an entrepreneur has an idea, a person has an idea, that's an entrepreneur. Now, how do you foster that? Shows like this, efforts like this, other things that are happening in Brunswick County and across my region, which is Virginia's growth region, are all about now, this person's got an idea. Hey, that's a pretty good idea. Let's play it out with them. Let's support them. Let's give them services. Let's give them ideas. Let's give them mentoring. Give them all those things and see if we can grow that business. You know, we're in a rural area. We are 20, I think the numbers that I looked at yesterday, there are 20 people per square miles in this area. You know, a rural area is defined as a density of less than 500 people. So what do? You don't have the large factories, you don't have the huge this and huge that, so what do? You grow your own. And to me, this is fertile ground for growing your own.
There you go. So with that, you know who we look at? The lady from broadband. So, okay, how do we connect people? Because people have ideas, and sometimes they need to get the resources. We've learned during the pandemic that we don't necessarily have to drive places. So can you touch on the importance of broadband when we start reaching out into areas that are further out to connect people to resources so that they can grow business ideas?
So when I started this role in 2018, is when I first started to understand that broadband was a utility, and prior to that, I hadn't learned about the rural electric. This is why it's terrible to be recorded. I'm looking at Natalie now for some coaching here. You guys know what I'm talking about. Are you familiar? So I think that broadband is now a utility that now we have recognized through the pandemic that it is part of infrastructure that is necessary to create equitable ecosystems or communities or whatever you want to call it. But if folks who already live in Brunswick want to stay here and thrive and want to grow their businesses, I'm looking at Mr. Herbert Brown, whose name I've heard many times from Mike Dowdy. And so there's already legacy family businesses here in Brunswick. I'm thinking about the importance of broadband for agriculture and technology and the impact on local and perhaps statewide and beyond food systems, that all of this broadband comes into play. So the funding is there. My platform over the past couple of years going out meeting economic developers, you had to apply for body. And so knowing who the ISPs are in your area is really the best advice that I've been able to give folks in terms of how can you advocate to improve that. I think through the pandemic, though, you saw schools opening up their parking lots. I would ask Ms. Reynolds here to speak to how Brunswick responded to the crisis level need for broadband.
So with that being said, it was very, very difficult because even in our areas that were not as rural as some others, there were still some broadband issues. And so having students doing virtual learning, it was a challenge. And from that, our board rallied around how can we improve education, because education was still going on. And so we worked very closely with Mid-Atlantic Broadband, with our school division, and we just tried to make the best of what was a bad situation. But out of that now, as you well know, we got a huge grant in terms of ensuring that every household in Brunswick County over the next 3 years will have internet and Wi-Fi and broadband, and so that's great. So there was some good that came out of this pandemic in an effort to ensure that that infrastructure is there for broadband services for Brunswick County, and that will change not just from a virtual learning, which we pray we don't have to ever go back to, but it will also change the whole view and system of Brunswick County in terms of infrastructure, in terms of business, in terms of opportunity.
All right, thank you. On the Mic with Mike is the program. You can be heard on ESPN Richmond. My name is Mike King, and what we do is believe that business can help society be better. We are down here. This is the Brunswick edition. Normally, Alfreda comes up, but this time she says, hey, come on down to Brunswick. It's a thriving ecosystem. So for the entrepreneurs out there, I'm going to start, really quickly, I'd be remiss. So we're here to talk about, I sound like a preacher with that one. I come from a long line of preachers. The Army got me. But that did sound kind of good. But I would like to talk about the connection between Richmond and Brunswick. And I'm looking at my good friend Shelby with the Metropolitan Business League. And they have a relationship with Brunswick down here. So Shelby, the floor is yours. Talk a little bit about what you do. Don't start. There will be no offering today. No, there may be. I need to fund my program.
So it's a joy to be a part of the Metropolitan Business League, which is the fastest growing membership-based organization in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And to now be able to explore and link up with all the great folks here in Brunswick County is something that we have been super excited about. I've been here since January 18th, but I'm learning quickly just how much MBL does for members. We have more than 850 business members, and just hope to continue to grow those numbers. But Guide, Connect, Succeed is what we're all about. We want to just definitely stand in the gap as much as we can for those small women and minority-owned businesses. And just in the past 2 years, I've been telling people since I started, like, hey, MBL is really hooking up some resources for member businesses, giving out more than $800,000 in grant funding to our members during the pandemic, which I have personally spoken to a lot of our members that say if it wasn't for that, they wouldn't even have their doors open for to be able to make it through the pandemic. So it's just great to be a part of that. As the Director of Marketing and Communications, they like the fact that I have a news and a kind of storytelling background, because they have a story to tell. In fact, when I interviewed, I said to them, I don't remember anybody ever pitching me a story about MBL. And then I get here and there's stories everywhere. Every time I talk to someone, every time I visit a location, I was just here in Brunswick, and my notebook was full of all of the wonderful opportunities that I see that you guys have here, and that the word when I was trying to sum it all up was possibility. As I was thinking over the last week, knowing that I was going to come here, I just kind of meditated on the word possibility, and just thinking of an area where you're going to have all these new schools, and there's going to be all this construction, and just building yourself as a hub for all unmanned, networks. It just seems so exciting, and I found myself in the last week or so telling a lot of people about Brunswick.
Awesome.
And my husband, he's from a small town.
Shut up.
And so this is really like his speed right here. So I'm like, who knows? If I keep talking, maybe we'll
Might be in Brunswick.
Yeah.
You might be living here.
It's just great to be here and to have Brunswick open its arms to NBL, for us to have a location here, to be able to meet with businesses, to sit down and give technical assistance, to talk to them about grant assistance, to talk about Kiva loans and other microloans and different things that are just great resources for them. So it's just great to be here, and there's a lot of work to be done, but like we're here, we're up for it, and we're glad to stand side by side with all the small businesses that are here. And it's not so far of a drive to come down. And then, of course, in the last year or so, a lot of our programming has been virtual. So we're getting back to more in person, but we still do some virtual things. And so we are just wanting to be connected with you guys and have the member businesses from Brunswick County join with us. We do our monthly recharge meetings where we bring information about resources and things that maybe you don't know. I hear people say, you don't know what you don't know. And so we're happy to be able to bring those opportunities and just be, hopefully be a light for the businesses here and not really think that we're that far away. So happy to be here and happy to be a resource.
Alrighty, thank you. So as Alfreda has schooled me on, Brunswick is the location of choice.
Brunswick County.
What standard is it?
Gold standard. There is nothing else. Brunswick County is the location of choice, the gold standard in business, family, leisure, and education. We are the place to be. We're open for business, and we're ready to think outside of the box to make everyone's dream a reality in terms of building that business entrepreneurship spirit and ensuring that business is not just open, but stay open.
So that is why you attracted Natalie coming to Brunswick. All right, Natalie, it's your time to shine. Tell us a little bit about what you saw in Brunswick. She's not a filmmaker, she's a content creator with some outstanding content. Let folks know who you are, what you do, and why Brunswick played a part in your next stop.
So again, I'm Natalie Hodge, and I'm the owner of Rudy's Girl Media, and that's based in Martinsville, Virginia. I'm actually a third-generation entrepreneur. I grew up in my dad's store, which was his father's store, my grandfather's store, in Leatherwood, which is in Henry County. And
David shaking his head like, yeah. Oh, yeah. Everybody else is like, where?
Where?
The one guy's going, yeah.
I've been to Greater Leatherwood,
Thank you, yes.
Greater Leatherwood.
Greater Leatherwood.
So that's actually important, the where question, because a lot of times we can overlook rural communities in our storytelling, especially about entrepreneurship. If you turn on the television and you see a show about small business or any type of business, it's usually in a larger market. So when I returned to the Martinsville, Henry County area, I wanted to tell stories about us, what we're doing in rural communities to make a big economic impact, but also social impact, because we contribute to all sorts of activities and innovation in our communities. So as I was moving into season 2 of Hometown Hustle, after a really successful pilot season, which featured 6 entrepreneurs in Martinsville and Henry County, I was contemplating where next season for this season would take place, and bumped into Lauren Methina, who said, go Virginia, Region 3, expand outward. And so as a part of that footprint, Brunswick County was an important piece. So a few weeks ago, we came out to do some canvassing, to look around Brunswick County, and I was in awe. So excited about what's going on here and the potential. So that was a key word, the potential. This is a canvas where a beautiful portrait can continue to be developed and painted. And we're so excited about featuring small business owners and community assets in the episode about Brunswick County. So thank you for having us. And we look forward to getting to know you, not just for the show, but as fellow change agents in the community.
All righty, so I thought we were getting ready to one of those Jerry Maguire crying moments. I was getting ready. I was getting ready to get started. All righty, so on the mic with Mike, we are here in Brunswick, Economic Development. Mike's here. Alfreda, she's welcomed us in. All righty, we always talk about it's a great place to live, work, and play. And I always ask folks who are in the mental health space, how are people doing? Angela, how are people doing out there from a mental standpoint so that plays a part in the economic development of our community as well. How are people doing as we come out of pandemic? And on top of that, when people are kind of close together, it's one thing, but when people are spread out a little bit, sometimes they have some challenges. So ma'am, the floor is yours.
I'll say that mental health is a constant. And so it has been a struggle. There have been a lot of just declines in some people's ability to cope with daily life stressors. And so we've just done the best that we can do as far as being there, being of service, whenever. We are there 24/7, literally. So whenever we get a call, we're there. But I have seen, unfortunately, a decline in the pandemic as it pertains to just the ability to cope. Right? And so I'm hoping that as we come out of it, that we can continue to evolve, in that space, and to continue to give so that the children and their families, and even the schools, the community at large will be able to grow through the difficult times that we have faced. We had to really regroup and change a lot of things. We could no longer go in the homes for a very long time, so virtual became a thing, which there's a distance there, Although it has been a benefit for some, a lot of people need that interaction. They need that interpersonal. They need to see you. They need to feel you, right? And so being able to get back to that has been a good thing, but it's a constant. It's an ever presenting matter. Mental health is an ever-presenting matter. Just as your physical health, right? Your mental health is just as important as your physical health.
So that is your business. What have you learned coming out of the pandemic from an entrepreneurial standpoint that you're doing now that you never would have done before?
I'm a grinder.
Straight up. I'm from Philly. I understand grinding. Okay, so grinding and hustling. Yes, that's what we do.
All legal. But so work is not abnormal to me. So to put your head down, stay focused, and go get it, that's just what I do. Yeah. Okay.
Alrighty. So talking about that, and we're talking about the business community. I'm going to touch on, so Mike Dottie, I've heard your name and we've connected a few years back. Explain to our listeners what you do, your organization here in Brunswick.
We're the Industrial Development Authority and we're responsible for water access. However, we have expanded that role from a hot dog cart vendor to a large agricultural project. I'm primarily responsible for the small towns and agriculture. Herb Brown and I have been bumping along on that for quite a while, and as you know, we've had some good announcements on that. But what I think we bring to the role, and Ms. Reynolds and I, we always say our name is going to be Alfreda Mike Reynolds or something like that, because we're trying to keep no daylight between us. We're working together, but we're both strong entrepreneurs. I bring 30 years of entrepreneur to the experience, and we're counseling young entrepreneurs or older entrepreneurs. We hope that they'll learn from our mistake, because we only know that what's the best teacher in the world, right? Messing up. So I'm hoping that some folks listen to our messing up and take that adventure. So that's what we bring to the game. And that's what we do. We're any aspect of helping a business, trying to get through, and of course, trying to find help and staff is another really good opportunity for all businesses, even on the state level and the federal level. The opportunity post-COVID is to find employees willing to work and able to work in education. So I would think everything. Whatever is involved, and I'm from South Jersey, so I'm also a grinder.
I hear you. I know South Jersey. All right, Professor, we're going to talk about the young next generation that's out there. How are the young folks doing? What are you seeing from your perspective?
So I think the young folks are vibrant. They're coming back. I think that they're glad to be back out from beneath the pandemic. I mean, everybody's world just all of a sudden shut down. And so from a collegiate perspective, we went from seated to online, and so we had to deal with some of the internet challenges and things of that nature. But then the students kind of lost connection to each other. So coming out of this pandemic now, everyone's coming back. And so because we have events and we have activities, whether it's sports or it's the Jazz Festival or the Taste of Brunswick, just different things, the Juneteenth celebration, where the community can actually get back together. And I think that's given us an ability to have some of that touch that Angela was talking about earlier. And I think that helps with coping because you're able to talk to someone. When you're home by yourself in a rural community, sometimes you have nobody to talk to. Whereas once you get back out here in society, now you have somebody that may understand where you are and you are able to talk. So I think our young people are vibrant. I think they're full of energy. I think they need guidance, like Mike was just talking about. We all need guidance. And so it's good to be back out, and I think our youth are doing well.
Alrighty, so you are an entrepreneur as well. Let's talk about that right there.
Okay.
What's the business?
So the number one business is I just started.
You said the number one business.
Right. So I have two. I have two.
Okay, there you go. All right, sir.
I'm a grinder. I grew up on a farm, not in Philadelphia.
You know what? But the thing is, hard work doesn't care where you grew up.
That's right.
And we're gonna get to the farming agriculture aspect of it, because sometimes from a business standpoint, Al Green, am I too close? Yeah. That's like blowing up my phone. All right. I'm not used to fancy equipment like this. I'm sorry. I had to come to Brunswick for treatment like this.
Only Brunswick.
This is the gold standard. So, all right. So let's talk a little bit about the businesses that you have.
So the first one would be the Getting It Done and Company food truck. It's a passion. It's like David said, some people will go out into a career because it's something that you like to do. So I enjoy food and sharing that. And I've had a lot of opportunities because as my daughters went through school, to go to the school and provide food. And, I'm a Mason. And so like you're out in the community and you're actually, providing that type of deal. And so as I watched the festival, I was just looking to see how could I help. You said, well, you want to bring businesses to Brunswick. One of the best things to do is create a business. And so you start to work that process. Then I went with the Impartial Minds Criminal Justice Consulting because my PhD is in business, but the concentration is actually in criminal justice. So I wrote my dissertation on African American male recidivism. And so as I start to look back, and I worked with Angie for a while as far as with her program, and I run a youth diversion program. And so I wanted to figure out how we could improve the criminal justice system and see what I could bring to the table. And so my plan is to go out and to start doing some criminal justice consulting. From a theoretical perspective as well as a practical perspective, because I actually work with law enforcement as well.
There you go. So there are a lot of great things that's happening out here in Brunswick. What we're trying to do is shed a light on what's happening. It's not that far from Richmond to come here to do business. So if anyone wants to do business or make any connections between Richmond, the Tri-Cities, and here, that's what we do. I connect people. And it's not like who you know, it's who you know. Well, my dad would say, who knows you? Because it's one thing to know somebody and they look at you like, who are you? So that's a little bit different. We're gonna touch base. So now, entrepreneurs, but I'm gonna give my man Major Davis, no disrespect for the other, military services that are out there. So if there's anybody else, don't get upset. Shout out to the Army. So they're part of the team. They're leadership consultants, and so they do it from a husband and wife perspective, growing their businesses. And what I found with them is they've had to move a lot because of that, that travel agent called Uncle Sam would move you from place to place, and each place they become part of the community. So touch on a little bit about that and growing a business, going from place to place. She has years at the DOD, he has years in the Army, and they've created a business model.
All right, that's a lot.
That's called build-up.
No, so yeah, it's very interesting, right? We have, I would say, a privilege to not only just move around, but to connect, right? Some people will say, oh, you get uprooted every 3 to 4 years or whatever. How do you deal with that? We deal with it like as an opportunity because we know who we are and we have a love for the community and a love for leadership. Been in leadership, probably development collectively for over 35, almost 40 years. So understanding, seeing, we're all leaders sitting around and even in the back room, right? Yeah, we're leaders, right? We're leading organizations wherever you're at. But Barry, as you mentioned, trust, right? So when we look at each other and we will have to take that, look at the reflection in the mirror, do people really trust me in my organization? And how do I deal with that? How do I grow as a leader, leading other people in whatever space that I'm in? And when it comes to community, wherever we're at, the first thing we find out is where the chamber is, what's going on. We get involved. We listen to people's stories because who told us? Someone long time ago told Kelly and I, you don't know someone until you know their story. So we get on ground, we listen to the stories, hear where the gaps are, and we get involved. And that's who we are as people, and that's who we are as business. And again, we have our leadership and then firm, and then we also have our nonprofit Aim for Unity, which is, it looks at leadership, literacy, legacy, and justice. So we do a lot as well in the military and in the communities that we're involved in.
And Kelly, she's doing something that's coming up. It's a Latina event with women businesses. Let's touch on that for a second, ma'am, if you would. You thought you were going to get out of here. You thought you was leaving.
No, I didn't think you'd do that. So, like Charles just shared, it's part of our DNA to come out and connect and build community with other entrepreneurs. So we started, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit before announcing the event. We started this entrepreneurial journey in 2010. And we started online with an online boutique, selling accessories. I was working in the DOD, Charles was in the Army, and we were moving. We were in North Carolina then. And we started online, and we're like, okay, we could do this. So within 5 years span, we went from online to scaling, having a storefront. And we opened the storefront 3 states after we opened it, which was in Texas. So we launched the shop there, and we were like, okay, this is it. Well, here goes Uncle Sam, time for you to go. But we had a transitional moment. And I mentioned that because as we're sitting here and we're talking about entrepreneurship, we're talking about community, right now, as the professor was just sharing, students are exiting workplaces, they're exiting education because they want to hang their shingle. They want to start their businesses. So how do we share and cross-pollinate what we're doing in our businesses, how we let them know it's possible, but also letting them know that the economy needs them to contribute back into their communities. So in doing that's what we do, and that's where our entrepreneurial DNA started, was over 12 years ago. And now with Anchor in Leadership, we are invested and dedicated working with senior leaders within local governments, higher governments, federal government, corporate sector, private entities. And I work especially with women as well in different leadership positions. And as you can see and hear, I'm a Latina, so I'm from the Bronx, we from the Bronx, so hustle and grind is also part of our DNA. That is what we know.
Yeah,
that's
like
what
the Yankees don't like the Mets. Sorry.
That's what we do. So, and to be able to know that and to hear that and know that it's embedded across, generations and communities, and seeing the youth here, that hustle and grind is something that's really coming up right now. That's a cool kid game. So in saying that, being a Latina, working in different spaces, working with Black, brown women, white women, all women in between, we all face that same uphill battle in the sense of confidence, self-esteem, conversations. How do we sit across in a room, in a table, not my friend Barry here, being able to have conversations and say, you know what, as As women, we are, we have information to contribute. We are the driving force of the economy. This is who we are, to identify that and come around the table. So with that being said, here in the region, in about 2 weeks, on June 30th, I'm gonna start a roundtable, and the name of the roundtable is Latinas Leading in Business with Kelly and Friends. And the friends part is very important because I'm a Latina to talk about what it looks like for other Latinas in leadership, but my friends are diverse. My friends span the globe, literally in business. And those are the people that I want to bring to the table and bring them together so we can be able to figure out and really close the gap when it comes to leadership and women in leadership spaces. So that's taking place on June 30th at the Better Business Bureau Community in partnership with Mike King and Barry Moore. So we're going to have amazing conversations on how to be able to just bridge the gap within leadership and highlight all the amazing things that are happening in our communities.
All righty, thank you. One of the great parts about having your own radio show is I can talk to whoever I want to talk to about the things that are.
Oh, that's right. We have that too. Thank you. Thank you for that
They
plug.
do have a radio show. It's on ESPN Richmond. That's a shameless plug. No, it's not shameless. That's straight up how it is. So one of the good parts about small town, and if I say I'm from Philly, then a person say, well, I'm from Philly. Then all of a sudden a person may say, well, I'm not really from Philly. I'm from that town right there. And then, yeah, exactly. And so then you would understand. So I see Miss Tatum over there. She's rocking with, she told me where the Brunswick colors. So, ma'am, and you say you proudly live downtown?
Yes.
Okay. Now's the time. You are the spokesman for what's happening in Brunswick when you look at it. And why are you rocking the colors so proudly, ma'am?
I rock the colors so proudly because it's an honor to live in Brunswick County. There are so many great things that are happening here, and greatness is born and raised in Brunswick County. I will always say that.
The gold standard.
Yes, the gold standard. I live in the heart of Lawrenceville, in the heart of downtown Lawrenceville. And when I can describe that, I'm like a stone throw from the one stoplight we have here. But I love that.
Bustling stoplight.
Yeah, I remember when I went to the Congressional Black Caucus in Washington a couple of years ago, and I talked about the population here. And everybody, they were talking about, I'm from this place, from that place, and I said, well, I'm from Lawrenceville, and we have about 17,000 people in one stoplight, and there were 17,000 people in one stoplight. Wow, but I was like, that's unique for us, and that's something, when I say that, I say it with great pride. I am that 8-year-old girl who was allowed to walk down the street by herself for the first time at 8 years old and see every single store in downtown Lawrenceville open. And it was a privilege. I just knew I was the one when I was able to go in the Roses store and purchase my own stuff with my own money and to just walk from store to store. Downtown Lawrenceville was a meeting place, and it felt like when you were downtown, you were home. You saw your cousins, you saw your church members, you saw everybody, and it was like this great big family reunion in downtown Lawrenceville, especially on Saturdays. So a lot of the great things that are happening here now, it's so awesome because we're the place to be, And when I think about what's happening in Lawrenceville right now, I think about hope. And for me, hope means helping others to perceive excellence. And that's what we're doing. And I will say, as a recipient of a gift from the economic development, our economic development with being a part of Metropolitan Business League, I'm a recipient of being and creating that greatness here. Being a part of the Metropolitan Business League through Brunswick, allowing me to do that has been a game changer for my business.
Wow, Shelby, is that a straight up commercial or what? We should have Floyd here for that one. It's like, hold on, can you say that again? We did this for tape. That's for sure.
Honestly, I was just telling Shelby, I came to the event that they had here when we were introduced to the Metropolitan Business League. And I had honestly, just prayed and said, if something doesn't change for my business, I just have to give it up. It's just not happening. And I sat in this room, this very room, and Alfreda was like Oprah. She was passing out.
You get some money. You get some money.
And I'm sitting here in tears because that was actually a prayer answered. You know, so now I get to really be able to develop my business. I started my business with heart, and all of us in here who are business owners understand that heart will not keep you in business. So, it will basically break you. So the Metropolitan Business League has helped me to do that, and I'm a part of that because I am a citizen of Brunswick and own a business here. And basically, the cohesiveness that we have here in Brunswick County makes it so awesome to be able to just partake of the things here. I'm telling you, Brunswick is not just a place to be, it's the place to watch. As the youngins say, eyes on me, eyes on Brunswick, because the gold standard is about to shine even brighter. So.
Really quickly, so with that, I'm going to save the young man down on the end because I got something special for him. But when we talk about Brunswick and what it meant to walk down the street, it goes back more over to the trust factor. And you're, as the Better Business Bureau, you're touching on people connecting trust and business. Talk a little bit about what the Better Business Bureau, what you do, and how that, how trust plays into that. Because that's what we're talking about here in a small town, whether it's a small, because no one lives in a big city. I'm from Philly, people live in neighborhoods. And a neighborhood is just nothing but a small town with, there's other small towns just connected to it a little bit further way down here. But in reality, who cares about the baseball team from, 2012 who won the World Series for the Little League, except for the people who live in that town? Because it's part of the trust factor. So Barry, talk a little bit about Better Business Bureau and what it means and what it can offer to some of the good folks down here who are entrepreneurs.
Good. So thank you. And I wrote some notes down, and I'm just going to hit on a lot of key points, and I'll share them with anybody that wants them later. The Better Business Bureau is something I've been part of for 40 years in the auto business. We were retailers. We were committed to trust. Every employer I ever worked for has been accredited. My wife owns a business, a dumpster company up in Pittsburgh. We were accredited. We believe in it, and it's because of what it stands for. And so when I came to the Better Business Bureau, I don't know if any of you pray, but I don't listen to God very often. I seem to reject the obvious. So when I was thinking about coming back to Richmond, my wife is still in Pittsburgh, and I love telling this quick story because I kept praying about it. Do I leave my wife? Do I come back here? I'm old now, survived cancer twice. Do I really want to do this? And I believe in RVA in Central Virginia so much that I had to do something. This job was open, and somebody asked me to come back. And I kept praying about it, and the last thing that God said when I was sleeping, he goes, do not listen to me very often, Barry, over decades. I was saved in 1969 with Billy Graham crusade at Madison Square Garden, and I made a lot of mistakes since, but when I prayed, it finally popped to my mind, Barry, you're replacing Barry Moore.
I knew that was crazy.
Think about that. I am replacing the last person in my president CEO role with Barry Moore. That's crazy, right? So I finally said, all right, I'm going. So what I bring to this job, and it's just a passion of mine, and I will always sound the same no matter who I'm talking to. I've never really changed. I teach as what I do to go out to the accredited business owners. I offer a consulting program. I don't charge. I give 30 to 40 minutes and I'm out. And then we go to companies that are accredited and we turn it over to them because that's your job. That is not my job. But I will give 20, 30, 40 minutes. And I talk about accountability, trust, having a vision, taking smart chances, not just taking chances. It's not gambling, right? With your life, you got to be smart. Do the research, figure out the why and what are you going to solve, whatever you do. Listen, listen, listen. Have a budget. In the car business, I used to sell cars in Brunswick County. This is a long ride. They get a Pontiac on Midlothian Turnpike to come back here and then come back for a service. And I used to come down here just to see how far it was, to understand and appreciate businesses to come that far. And we were worth it. A lot of my employees live down this area. So then don't look at a negativity or when it could go wrong. Think positive, be realistic, but always know network, and network, and network, and network, right, Mike?
That is true.
We did that a long time ago. Practice, scripted, and rehearse, know what you're gonna say. Accountability, might have said that already. Own it. If it goes bad, own it. If it goes great, give the credit to somebody that works for you. Or if it's by yourself, take the credit. But always give your employees that credit if you have a few employees. They're looking to you for leadership. They always want to be the best. Nobody ever, in C.T. Woody's jail or the Justice Center, nobody woke up there to fail that day. When I used to go in there and work with him, the amazing program he had and the real life program, those people had so much energy in the morning. They just got beat up through the day because they couldn't get out, right? And it was sad. But they at least started every day and listen to people. But right, I said, get a mentor, have faith. You know, again, I pray, whatever you believe in, do it. Employees, where to find them. We help at the Better Business Bureau where to find, attract, satisfy, retain. I've got a program to help you. I've been using it for 15 years, a job board. So accredited businesses, if they need employees, and not to work just remotely, because that's where the new world is. Everyone wants to work remote. Well, it doesn't work in a police department, nursing, hospital, whatever the case may be. So I've got ideas for that, and that have been proven. Realize how you live and you talk and your off time is who you are in your business. So many business owners, I'm seeing it now with complaints, business owners, nonprofit business owners sometimes, going after for-profit businesses that might have wronged them, they think, but they're not looking at both sides. So they're on a pulpit and they're on social media pounding. That's going to be used against some of these people later on. So realize that everyone's a salesperson. A little bit to what you were saying, Charles. Become known for something. I think down here, I did solar and roofing up in Pittsburgh for a short time. Be known as, here's one idea, just become known as 80% of the houses down here have solar power. The government funding and the tax credits are significant. So look at that. And then all of a sudden people get noticed. Tourism, food trucks, I think that's great. I think Richmond has done a great job with food trucks. Become known for that, a place to drive down 50 miles out of Chesterfield to come down for a dinner and look at a beautiful community. Become partners with your vendors, and then advertise, take a chance. Shelby doesn't remember me, but I remember her for years. We did a Christmas story with a gentleman and his son, probably in 2002, 2004. Channel 6, does that reach down here?
Yes.
Yes. I mean, it's the greatest station.
Yes.
Give her a call, get that marketing. And the man, Al Green, I've worked with him over the years, get to know him, and he does amazing jobs too, and Mike King. Did I answer your question in 40 minutes or less? That's just who I am, sorry. I know you cut the mic on, I got it.
The music, the Academy Awards. So really, one of the reasons why for people who don't grow up in rural areas, you know, they always joke and say what they're not making more of is land. When we talk to a person who's a generational farmer, I always have an interest talking about how that plays out. What's the farming like now, and how's technology played a part in it? And let's just talk about your world, and then we're going to have to talk about that jam that you made. I was a hit in my house, but that's a side story. Let's talk a little bit about the name of your business, the elevator pitch really quickly.
Yes, so I operate Browntown Farms located in Walfield, Virginia, which is here in Brunswick County. And just to start, I'll tell you, I didn't grow up wanting to be a farmer. My family farm operation wasn't active when I grew up as a kid, so I'd never seen the picture of agriculture.
Oh, okay.
So, but, right? It's always a but in there. But as I got older, I started to see, I was like, well, we in Brunswick County, we have access to land, and might as well utilize this land and make a difference and take it to the top. So speaking of agriculture nowadays, I call it modern day agriculture, I think innovation is key. Digitally, I try to have a digital presence. I always say my dad's way is not my granddad's way, and my way is not my dad's way. Mm-hmm. And I think that progression is normal and healthy for the growth of any business. So what we try to do is be innovative and try to add value to people's lives. And one of the things that we like to do on the farm is add value to people's lives through providing them with healthy food so they can be healthy and add value to their health and their physical life, but also add value to our products. So not only am I a farmer growing these crops in the field, I'm then turning that product into a consumer packaged good. So now I can ship that product anywhere in the U.S. So if people want to see, have experience in Brunswick County, I can ship that package to California and they can see my brand and my label, right? And the third thing that we like to do to add value to people's lives is through experiences. In Virginia, agriculture is the #1 industry, and tourism is #2. When you merge the two, you get ag tourism. So in our future plans, we're looking to not only educate and create agriculture awareness, but also give people something to do, something to see, and develop a deeper appreciation for ag.
When we did a summit back a while ago with the restaurant industry, and I'm directing this to you. So there was a scandalous a message there that there are no nuggets on a chicken. And the farmer said that, and I laughed because I'm like, sir, my grandson, he may disagree with you because he is a chicken nugget expert. And so a lot of times we don't know where food comes from, and we don't know the process. We've heard farm to table, we've heard those things. Then now you're talking about ag tourism. Talk a little bit about, if you would, so that we're taking the food, the opportunities for farming, and what it's done for you and your family business.
Yeah, so speaking of ag tourism, the goal of ag tourism is to create experiences for people. So people can either visit your farm or take part in an activity on your farm to allow them to be on the farm and have a good experience. So, you spoke of the jam, and that's kind of an indirect way of, I call ag tourism. But, we're able to take that jam and you ask, how's your jam so good? I mean, our jam is small, it's hand-picked, it's all small batch production. It's all by hand. It's all by hand. There's over 20 steps that goes into making my jam. So it's made with love, and I think love make everything taste better, right? So, to answer your question, I think people need to become in tune with what they're eating and where their food comes from, because I always use this example. We all have a barber, we might have a dentist, we may have a mechanic, but who's your farmer? Everybody needs a farmer. And once we start to identify who our farmer is or who our farmers are, it's going to be a better place. So yeah, that's one angle that we look at. We're trying to create relationships with people so people can know where their food is coming from, and shop local and support your localities and your people who have business there.
So my farmer is not Kroger, I would guess, sir. No, it is not. So I need to work on. I need to up my farmer friend game. Alrighty, so Alfreda, we are here. So we have some folks who came, and we've shared a lot of information here. Some folks are here, and the guy who came by. If anybody has any questions, people put out a lot of information. Does anybody have any questions that anyone on the panel could answer? Any questions? No? None? One, sure.
How do we sign up to get a farmer?
That would be the marketing expert saying, Mike, stop going to Kroger.
See us afterwards.
That is true. Alrighty, so anyone on the panel, anything that you guys would want to share from the connection between Richmond and some of the ideas and things that Alfreda and I had talked about, the idea of connecting the ecosystems from Richmond to the Tri-Cities to Brunswick. Anyone have any questions?
I don't have any questions, but I got a comment about connections, because I've seen how connections can work between rural areas and more metro areas, especially in the area of creating high-paying technology jobs. I mentioned that I'm in another life. I work with I'm a managing partner of an economic development consulting firm, and one of the things that we do is we've helped 6 different rural localities in Tennessee and North Carolina take their downtowns, find a building that could be repurposed to become a place that you can have entrepreneur development, but also it can be a place for remote working or co-working, but it also can be a place where you create jobs for IT companies. So because, and I'll just give an example, the first one we did was in Apex, North Carolina. Now that is kind of part of the Triangle area. But one of the largest gaming companies in the country is located in the Research Triangle Park. They needed coders. They need people who can code. They couldn't find any workers. So what we did was we helped Apex set up a center. And I think there's about 20 or 25 employees now of this gaming company who work in Apex and don't have to travel the hour or 45 minutes, whatever it is. And that's just one example. One thing that I see here that I get excited about with Lawrenceville is that you've got a lot of buildings downtown that can be repurposed. Entrepreneurs, co-workers, whatever they are, they need a place. And if you can create a space for them and then make that connection to the metro market where they can find workers who live here and work here but are part of their business, I think that's a winning strategy.
Shelby?
It wasn't really a question, it was just more of a statement, and I said it when I was here a week or so ago, just from the perspective of the journalist who's been, can't even count the number of stories that I've done, and I agree with whoever down there said you don't really know someone until you know their story. You guys have a fantastic story.
Yeah.
And so this is just more encouragement to say, tell your story. Let people know who you are, what you bring to the table. And when you share that, I wasn't exaggerating about all the things I wrote down the other day about the stories that I'm gonna work on. But I just encourage you to tell the story of just the hidden gem that you are here. I knew one person from Brunswick County from when I went to James Madison, LaShonda Lipscomb, so I texted her when I got back and I showed her a picture of us, and so she of course knows Alfreda, she knows everybody. But she was just so excited. She was so excited, oh my gosh, you were there. And we just talked about all the things that I saw, and I said, man, there's so many great stories and great people to tell, so just continue to, to do what you do and just make sure that the world knows what you're doing.
Shelby, could you really quickly give some of the people here insight on how to get exposure being with a TV station? Everyone, whether it's a nonprofit, everybody wants and needs some exposure, and that's not always with paying of advertising. Talk about making their story good enough so people could get some shine from a local TV station.
I think that any reporter, whether it's Channel 6, 8, 12, whoever, newspaper, when you reach out to them, you just bring that human aspect. As you were talking, I was thinking, did he bring any jam with him? Maybe I need to go visit and
I was looking for some jam too. Where's the jam table?
The intriguing part to me was that you said that when you grew up, your family farm was inactive, and so you didn't even have that perspective, and now, full circle, you're back. And so, what a great story, and, from your vantage point. So just really owning your story, knowing it, and then just pitching it that way. A lot of people I meet, they go oh, put me on TV, and I'm like,
for what?
What's your story? Just think of, there's so many great personal stories of victory, of people, turning their lives around. Just really know it and just pitch the personal aspect of it. But just logistics wise, a lot of people hit us up on social media and just make a lot of noise to where you can't even ignore them. You're like, whoa, that is a really great story.
Mm-hmm.
I get a lot of stories, people hit us up on Facebook or Instagram where they send a message to us on our DMs, and then I get back with them, and yeah, so just reach out and just make it personal. Just make them understand why somebody would want to hear it.
One of the things that we do is we celebrate people. Missions from the Heart is your nonprofit. Really quickly, because we're running out of time, let folks know what that is, and that's impactful up in the Richmond area.
It's a nonprofit that I started a few years ago based on just what I saw covering stories as a reporter, just the need that was out there. And Mission from the Heart is just a volunteer-run organization, and we help students that are experiencing homelessness in the Richmond area. And actually, we've helped students as far away as Surrey and James City County. And we just work with counselors and teachers to find out who the students are and just try to be a resource for them. And families that are in underserved communities.
All right, thank you. Barry Moore.
Real quickly, I promise. One way for this community and economic development, I think for any community in Virginia, especially where I'm at right now, but across the country, be known for something. If every business owner were to consider applying, we get them accredited. If there's a strip mall or 4 businesses together, you could put a seal, the torch on that to be known as an accredited center, and it starts with trust. That becomes a PSA on Shelby Station, because what they do thrive on, not Shelby, is the scams and fraud, which I think is a waste of time because it's a negative energy versus what's the solution? Doing business with people that applied, said they'd start with trust, and they put the seal there. So if the farm and everything was accredited in this area, it's worth it. So call me and let's just talk about that. Economic development, I'm going to work it in 42 counties. And when we're done here, it goes across the country.
There you go. Angela, what's new on the horizon for your business? When you look at where you are now, what's the next big step that you'd want to?
I think we will continue to add additional support services because right now we have intensive in-home, anger management, therapeutic mentoring, substance abuse, one-on-one student aid services, but there's still an area to work with adults because we have been working with children and their families, so we will look to work with adults who could benefit from the support services that we offer. The pandemic just really allowed us the opportunity to reset and rebuild, whether it was from the morale of the staff to the services that we provide to the community. So I think the sky is the limit. I mean, there are no limits to what Turning Point can do as it pertains to support services. It's just simply when.
When did you know you had something?
In 2010, when the thought came that I had been avoiding and pushing to the side. I was in a situation, great salary, in the job that I had, no reason to walk away from it at all.
And then the bug started biting at you?
It had been biting for.
But you hadn't.
But I was, get off me. I'm comfortable, right? I'm good. I don't need, I can do what I'm doing now and I'll be just fine. But see, this is not just about me. I'm but a change agent in the activity that's happening. I'm just being used in order to give what needs to be given. So I understand that. But yeah, I ran from it from a minute. But in 2010, it was just as clear as day. Like, it's time now.
And you knew you had something?
Yes.
Alrighty. So for the other entrepreneurs that are out there, Professor, when did you know that you had something that you were going to take and run with?
I'd say last year we started during the pandemic. Both my parents retired. Both of them are younger, and they wanted something to do, and so we started the process. And so we're still in the planning phase. And so right now, just identifying what we want to do. And so we're working through that process. And as far as the criminal justice aspect of it, when I started seeing all of the use of force incidents, the active shooting, and all those different things, and I started participating in criminal justice panels around the state, because I was a state trooper before.
You look like you.
So I started to think that, hey, I have something to give back, practical and theoretical. So it's just a matter of now developing it. And so I'm in that beginning stage. I'm birthing this process. So that's why I was glad to be here today, just to learn, just to be among you all, just to be a sponge.
So Mike Dottie, talk a little bit about some of the resources that you have that people may not know. I know there's things that people know, and then there's some other things that a lot of times business owners are putting out fires.
Thank you for this opportunity. While we're speaking to your millions of listeners, while we're speaking to your millions of listeners, the resources are we've taken the time to update the historic district, putting 97 properties available for historic tax credits. We are an enterprise zone. The IDA is actively putting roofs on buildings and getting them ready to go. I just want to let the developers know out there, opportunities are good right now, but they won't last. Opportunities are good, but they won't last. We provide Metropolitan Business League, Angela, Luanda, there's really good backing. We learned from COVID that we were trying to apply some grant money, and we learned that businesses didn't have good accounting practices. They didn't know that, they thought not paying taxes was a good thing, and we learned that it's an excellent thing. You miss out on other opportunities if you're doing your books properly. And I think Micah has done a very good job and Luanda said it very clearly, having heart isn't enough to run a business. You have to have experience and a plan. Just because you make the best cake in the world doesn't mean you figure out how to afford eggs and flour. So it's important to note that our location, we're located on 58, 46, 85, and 95. We're an hour and a half from everywhere. Richmond, Raleigh, the mountains. 70% of the population of the United States is a 2-day drive, and 45% of the population is a 1-day drive for our location. We're close to the ports, the airports. There's no reason not to come here. We've got good deals on land. We're working hard to make that happen. And as Frito-Lay told us last week, they never worked with an economic development team, Alfreda and I, and other supports in zoning and everyone else. And they're working out in New York City and some large cities. No one who was attentive, who followed up, who took care of what they needed to make a business happen. So this is a great place to be. This is, and forget the part about liking us. It's a smart business move. We're easy to get to and hard to leave. Coming to Brunswick County is not a showing, it's an IQ test. Are you smart enough to come down to Brunswick County and let us show you what we can do? So thank you, Mike. Thank you for the opportunity.
Well, hey, I just came here because Alfreda said this is the secret of happening.
And it is.
It is happening. So, Natalie, when you're birthing your show, when did you and your partners know that you guys had something?
Well, immediately when the idea came to mind, it just felt right because, I felt like my dad was speaking to me, like, yes, you are on the path when the idea came up. But after we did the pilot season and on a micro budget, just pulling it all together, micro budget, a shoestring, just like winging a prayer budget, and what we were able to produce and the global audience we were able to touch and introduce our community to people who had never heard, never experienced the community. We knew this is much bigger than we even anticipated. And so getting into season 2, I'm so excited to bring that same energy, passion, and spotlight to Brunswick County. So anyone who has a business in Brunswick County or any of the Go Virginia Region 3 area and wants to be a part of Hometown Hustle, go to hometownhustle.tv. There's an interest form there, and so excited to hear from folks who may want to be featured as a business. And we are also open to sponsorship.
It's always good because I say changing the world ain't cheap, easy, or free.
That's right.
And plus my grandkids need stuff. That's the second part of that one. So one of the parts about having a business, there's resources. And I always say my man Martin Short with Small Business Administration, they're offering support all across the board. I mean, it's been educational when we sat there and they're talking about patents that are information or EIDL loans or PPP or any of those other things that are out there. So we're going to have him sort of wrap it up and let people know what's happening with SBA and some things that people might not know, because you guys got resource partners, you guys got all kinds of stuff going on.
Yes. So thanks a lot, Mike. And one of the things that I think we need to do a better job of is resource partners. And I'm very sincere about this. I saw it when I was living down and working in South Carolina. People didn't know they didn't know anything about the SBA. They'd never heard of the SBA. Some would call us a Small Business Association. Well, you're not going to find the word association in the title of a governmental agency. It's administration. You just didn't know. It's okay. We just don't do a good job of promoting ourselves and making sure that we're serving the business community and entrepreneurs in such a way that they are not walking around being ineffective and inefficient because we didn't make ourselves known. Okay, government doesn't go out and advertise all that good stuff, but I try to make it a point to do so. Okay, because it's important. And so After I finish here, I would like to hear just a few comments or some comments from people who, business owners. Can you just tell us some of the things that you need, that we can do better? Okay? And I treat my job as a business, okay? As a public information officer, I treat it just as that. Hey, how many people can I reach? What's the frequency? That's why I go on the Mike King show. That's why I write an op-ed. That's why, we're working with HBCUs. We need to make sure we're reaching entrepreneurs and giving them the services. And Mike, you just mentioned earlier, when COVID hit and people were applying for our resources, they didn't realize that, hey, you know what? I need to have a business bank account and start funneling my money through my personal bank account. I do need to pay my taxes. I do need to understand that, yes, I'm great at baking pies or cupcakes or frying chicken, whatever the case is, or working on someone's car, but also I have to wear this hat of being a professional business owner. Leadership, professional management. That behind the scenes stuff is what gets you in trouble. We're partnering with the IRS. We've been doing some webinars with them for the last, I would say, 3 or 4 months, and we're going to continue. And they really break down the nuts and bolts of how you operate the IRS, things that you do, record keeping, and just knowing that, hey, you run this business, just because you own it doesn't mean you get to do what you want to do. There are laws. There are regulations. You have to be mindful of those things. And so we want to make sure we do a better job of providing that technical assistance and providing that awareness, because we understand entrepreneurs only know what we know. We don't know what we don't know. And so it's our job to make sure that we enlighten folks and making sure that, hey, we're here to help. We're here to help you. This is what we do. So with that said, if we could just, those who own businesses such as Brown and Anchor in, if you guys, and I have a relative here who owns a radio station, Percy Williams. And you just tell us some of the things that you guys may need, or what you're seeing, or Mr. Seward, Dr. Seward, what you think we can do better. Because then that way we can better plan and go back and take a different approach, because we need to do a better job, and I'm serious about that. Anyone?
Let me get the lady in the back.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've actually attended a lot of your sessions.
Oh, okay, good deal. Thank you.
My name is Laverne Dillard, and I am the Administrative Service Coordinator for the Brunswick County Industrial Development Authority. But I came there by way of James Madison University, whereas I myself am an entrepreneur as well. I started doing entrepreneurship when I was like 16 years old. I knew what I was going to do. I haven't given up on it, but when I decided to do it, it was going to be a retirement job for me, because I can never see myself retiring. But if I do retire, I want to retire doing something I like to do, and that's driving. So I'm opening my own trucking company, so that's my thing. But I can tell you, as a small business owner, up and coming, the Small Business Administration has taught me a lot. And I think the resources, if the resources were available, more available to some of our rural areas, not where you could do it virtually. Yes, virtually is good for some people if they understand it, but in person is better, because they can understand it even more, because they see it in black and white. When we brought the gentleman here for the SWAM certification, that was tremendous. I mean, we had a huge turnout. It's because they didn't know. I mean, they don't know. When they don't know something, they can't do it. So making sure that they can get this information and bring this information to maybe having a course, having somebody from the Small Business Administration come down to one of our, since we have the Resurgence Grant, why not have somebody from the Small Business Administration come down and talk about separating your personal income from your business income? Have someone talk about, bring somebody with you from the IRS, telling them how important it is to file your business taxes. I mean, that I can say for myself is important. I think it's very important. And I think the more they know, the more they can grow. You can't grow if you don't know. So that's my word.
Awesome. There you go. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let me add this piece to it as well. The SBA, we provide essentially four core services. One is counseling. We have resource partners that actually do that work. Small Business Development Center, SCORE, Service Corps Retired Executives. They actually have gotten away from that, so they just call themselves SCORE. We have the WBC, Women's Business Center of Richmond, and WBC at ODU. And we have the Vivac, Veteran Business Outreach Center. Okay? They're designed to assist veterans who are transitioning out of the military. And then we have the PTAC, those Procurement Technical Assistance Center, those who have an interest in government contracting. And all these resources are free. They're free. You may attend a workshop and there may be a nominal fee, but essentially when it's one-on-one counseling, that is free. So I think one of the things we're working on in my office is certainly one of our initiatives that's from the White House is to reach those underserved communities. But one of the things that we really need to drive home is we need to develop some core components that we're going to pursue and make sure that we put in front of entrepreneurs all the time on a regular basis, because it's about fundamentals. The fundamentals. If they don't have the fundamentals, we have a problem. So it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
All righty. One of the things, ladies and gentlemen, it is about, so the program is on the mic with Mike. It is about having your business seen and heard. If nobody's ever heard of you, they ain't buying nothing. That's what it comes down to, people. And that's the first step. So if you think that you're doing too much on the marketing side or promotion, no, you're not. No, you're not, because you have to let people know who you are and what you do. That's why a lot of times people see me, I always have my name on my stuff, on everything. See, right here it's just covered up, but you better believe it, because people are gonna say, who are you? And I'm like, looking at it. It's my king. And so it is everywhere. It is promotion about what you do. If you see, that's my roller suitcase there. It's purple and blinged out. Why? Because I need people to know what I do. It's business. It's you guys letting you know. That's how Alfreda talked us into coming down here to make this happen. So from the marketing aspect, does anybody in the crowd? So wait a second. The way people don't understand how I run a radio show, it's not regular. So and for the radio station owners looking like, okay, can anybody want to say anything and to promote your business? Come on now. There you go, ma'am. Step on up.
Good afternoon. I just want to say, I guess I'm speaking from a different perspective, being a member of the Board of Supervisors, because I've attended some of the workshops with Metropolitan and this young lady, Angela. I'm a retired administrator, principal of middle school.
So you're one of the educator types.
So
you never stop.
I never stopped, from teaching to administration. And Angela was one of my first students when I first graduated from college. And so to sit here and hear her speak and articulate the way that she is speaking, and then to see and hear how her vision moved about coming back to the county and giving back, and knowing when it touched her, specifically the year, it speaks volume to me, and to all the businesses that are in Brunswick County. But as I've retired, I do a little real estate type of thing. So I got a couple of homes that I rent out, and the market there is. I just called another person just yesterday and said, if you have any houses, I'm out. Do you have anything to rent out? So I know that there's a component here in Brunswick County that some people need to tap into. And I just wanted to share that as well. And I'm hoping that someone else will hear, because people are in need of housing. And in our 2035 vision that the Board of Supervisors put together, that housing falls under that. And we're just hoping that piece kicks off as well. So I'm just glad to be here, to be a part, to hear the information, and to definitely hear my baby Angela really speak about where it started, how it started, and to see and hear how she's taken it to another level. And I'm sure that it's going to be blessed and go to another level, just because of her commitment and grinding. She's been a grinder all the way. From 4th grade to Girl Scouts, I had her, and she
we see here what is taking place today. And thank you, Mike, for coming.
All right, ma'am, you win the Touching Moment Award. Hands down. Straight up. And that's what we do. This recreates moments very quickly. And so as we're, want to talk about the radio station?
Yes. My name is Percy Williams. A lot of y'all know me here. I used to be at the radio station in Lawrenceville, right up in town, WHLQ. And I was with the owner there. I've been with him for some time, and I was also operating the station here and in Roanoke Rapids. So I'm down in Roanoke Rapids now, and the opportunity came up that was too good to, what is the old saying? It's too good to refuse. So I did the station over in Roanoke Rapids. I've been there for 2 years. And we actually get into Brunswick County. The signal covers all the way from Lawrenceville. I can pick it up at my home in Murderville. So, but it comes in on the fringe area into Lawrenceville, all the way down to Enfield, North Carolina, all the way down to Southampton. So we have a wide coverage area, and a lot of the events that Brunswick County has, like the Taste of Brunswick Festival, the Jazz on the Square, you get a lot of people that come from Roanoke Rapids and from the surrounding areas, which are just a drive away. And you can advertise and get them to come even closer instead of just getting the people in Brunswick County or in Virginia, because we're so close to the North Carolina line. Invite those people over as well. And I've learned in business, in radio, I've been in it all my life, in radio and in some form. I've been an entrepreneur all my life. From the time of 14, I started DJing for Martin's and my family reunion. And that's where it started. So from there, DJing and then working in radio at the same time, I was trained by Leroy Penn. Top 10 Penn.
Top 10.
Top 10 Penn.
Yeah. Back in the day, I was a member of the Soul Patrol.
Is that the street team? Is that the street team who goes out and makes things happen?
No, but that was actually a crew of DJs that used to be on the station. That we brought a lot of soul music and
Soul Patrol.
Back in the day, from like 74 on up to around 87, 88, 89.
And what's the station call letters?
Well, the station that I have is WCBT 1230 AM and 102.7 FM. It's WCBT Soul, because we do soul music, Southern soul music, which is also known as beach music. So soul music, which with the beach music component of it, that covers around in the Lake Gaston area. So you know what, that's considered a big lake area and a beachfront area, so they love it.
All righty.
Yeah. Okay. And we're also streaming as well. You pick it up anywhere on WCBTradio.com.
Good enough. Appreciate it. Thank you. As we get out, I really want to touch on one thing last, and we talked about this as partnerships. Man, you have a partner. Let's talk about how successful partnerships for businesses. Sometimes businesses need partners or want partners. What's a successful partner? Look at your partner. I see him over there. The partner. How's that work?
I don't want to tear up, but he has been so critically important to just providing support and encouragement and filling in the gaps. It's like he knows when I need certain things, and he's just there on top of it. Ideas, when we came out to do some pre-production work here in Brunswick County, right there to drive, right there to handle the camera, right there to just fill in those gaps. So I think partnership is important, just to be in tune with each other as you are kind of building business and creating opportunities, knowing that there will be highs and lows and everything in between, but there's someone working alongside you who just gets it.
There you go. Does he have a name?
Oh, Hassan Davis. Yes.
Hassan. All right, real quickly on the mic. This program we're here in Brunswick. This is getaway question. We got to keep it really short because Emmanuel's giving me the eye, and because I can get carried away at times, believe it or not. What gives you hope, Ms. Tatum? We're going to start down with you, and really quickly, what gives you hope? And that's the basis of the program. I lived in a college town for 10 years before I moved to Richmond in 2014. I didn't know anyone in Richmond when I got there. But now, we sort of know, and we've developed a crew, and there's people who believe that the world can be a better place. That's why I like the college town, because they drank the Kool-Aid. They believe it. And so, what you guys are doing down here is amazing. Alfreda is a Pied Piper of letting people know what's happening down here because it's a story to tell. You have a storyteller who's picked out Brunswick. You guys got entrepreneurs. It's open for business, and so that's what we're talking about. So, man, what gives you hope? And we're going to go around really quickly.
Okay. As I stated earlier, hope to me means helping others perceive excellence. So what gives me hope is a direction I see Brunswick County going in. And that direction is helping me and others to be excellent in the business in which we have chosen to be.
What gives me hope is people. People sitting around this table, businesses that are not just in business to, of course, we're all in business to make money, but business to make a difference in a community. Seeing what the community is, seeing what it can be, and posturing ourselves to be difference makers in the community by giving back and owning business and owning land and stuff like that to give business back. So people at the end of the day, and as I mentioned earlier, and Kelly mentioned earlier, we're here and committed to partner with Brunswick and the great work that is going to happen here and that is happening here. So we're committed to partner with you in every way, shape, or form that we can. So awesome. Thank you.
Well, the major just pulled rank.
He truly did. That's a tough one to catch. That's a tough one to follow right there.
Thanks, Major.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Man.
But yeah, people, I think, I mean, we're by nature and by creation, we are a social organism. We need people. People need us. And as soon as we realize that, we can go anywhere with God's help and the fact that we need other people. And I think the other thing that gives me hope is I think the younger folks get slammed a lot about being lazy and not being creative, not being interested, only want to work on their Game Boy or whatever. I think the young people that I work with, even my own kids who are not that young anymore, have a thirst for knowledge, and they have all this information together. And they have the opportunity to do great things in small places. They don't have to be in Paris or London or New York or wherever. They have the opportunity to do it. And that gives me a great deal of hope.
What gives me hope are people like my 4th grade teacher.
That was a touching moment.
Yes.
She wins.
She has absolutely been one of the most profound teachers that I've ever had in my life. I can still remember sitting in her class. This is how influential she was. And so because of her leadership, because of her dedication, because of her love for her students, I am who I am today. I promise you, leadership, all of that stemmed from those moments in 4th grade. So I am hopeful that we will continue to have teachers, counselors, leaders, community advocates who will really pour into our children and into our communities. And so we will, see the benefits of that.
That's great. I think I echo the sentiments of pretty much everyone here that's spoken more about hope. And I think about our children, our future, and the opportunities that are before them. That gives me hope. It gives me hope to see a locality like this that will pour into their children, that will pour into their small businesses. I think about the Fly Day that you had the other day, introducing young people to that opportunity of learning about aviation, thinking about all the opportunities that they have that we didn't have. And then also thinking about an entity like NBL that wants to pour into small businesses and just open doors for them and just be there to help guide them. And so it makes me, it does make me hopeful that even during a pandemic, there's so many people that are just so resilient because other people stand in the gap, whether it's NBL, whether it's, your locality here. So it's hopeful. It makes me hopeful that there are people willing to not just think about themselves, but think about other people to guide them and help them along. So that's what brings me hope.
Mark Short.
Okay, not sure, but I will say this. COVID was really bad and it's still here. But a crisis brings about opportunity. It brings about a different way of doing things, a different way of looking at things, reimagining, pivoting, whatever the case is. I'm hopeful that this has been beneficial and that we're going to move forward. I'm hopeful the fact that I connected Mike King to Alfreda Hey, folks, by the way, they stopped talking to me for a minute there after I connected them. See, I had to,
Don't be a hater, man.
you know, I had to see, you see? But that's how that works, right? Yeah, but I'm hopeful at what's to come. I'm very proud of Alfreda, what she's doing. I told her I'm here. I'm going to be here. I'm going to make some things happen. We're going to kick up some dust. So I'm hopeful of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. So Hometown Hustle is a show about hope, and it is about how entrepreneurs overcome and create in moments of crisis and are innovative and inspiring and pour into their communities, into their families. And so coming into Brunswick County, I am overwhelmed with excitement about all the things that are happening here and the great work that you all are doing, that we will do together. So my hope level is through the roof right now. And so I just appreciate you all. Thank you for inviting me into the community. And I'm so excited to tell the story, not for you, but with you.
Awesome. I am hopeful of the future, that only God knows, and that this assignment of this job and this position to be able to impact Brunswick County and Southside Virginia will bring. Eyes have not seen and ears have not heard the great things that is in store for Brunswick. And so I'm just excited for my place at the table to kind of orchestrate this opportunity to bring Brunswick County in the forefront. We have been so many times kind of bumped by Greensville and bumped by Mecklenburg. We're nestled right in the middle, but sometimes in the middle is where the great part of the cookie is right in the middle. And so we're using our location of choice, where we're strategically located, to bring about positive change, economic development, and better the lives of our citizens by affording them jobs, opportunity, business growth and support, and the amenities that other people have that we so deserve. Brunswick County is a location of choice, and for that I am most hopeful.
And the gold standard.
The gold standard in family, leisure, education, and business. We are the place to be.
Well, what gives me hope is a few things. My entire career has been a life of service. I've worked in service-based careers with USCA and now Virginia State University Small Farm Outreach Program. And I mention that because you know, when you live in to serve people, a lot can happen. Mm-hmm. But I'm hopeful that just like everyone else in this room, we all are providing a service, or we may have a product business, but we're providing something to others and we're giving back, and that means a lot. And I'm hopeful that as we continue our journeys, we are educating and creating opportunities for the next generation, and they can continue to take care of us. I'm very appreciative and hopeful for everything that has happened today and that has happened over the past months. It's been huge for Brunswick County, but it's been huge to see everybody come together and drive business. So I'm hopeful for what's yet to come.
All right.
So they say that timing is everything, and I think that the time is now for Brunswick County. I've taken lots of notes because when I was young, I wanted to be a writer, and apparently that is what I am now as a grant writer, economics developer, building partnerships, and getting to work with this team is an honor and a privilege because they are raising the bar for what a county can do when it chooses to row in the same direction. So, and it's going to rise up. So I'm really excited to be part of Brunswick raising the expectations that others might have for it. And so thank you for coming down today, bringing the RVA crew. What gives me hope is the people in this room and in this county, and it always comes back to people, right? And so there's servant leadership and professional management here on this economic development team and within the business community. So the best is yet to come.
It is.
All right, so what gives me hope is I think we have a good team. I know I'm kind of biased because I sit on the board, but I think the team of Alfreda, Mike, our board, the town council, everybody works together. You know, I graduated, left, went to the military, was gone for a number of years, and came back and kind of felt like sometimes we didn't want or we were turning down, and now I feel like we do want, and we're hungry, and we're doing things that we have not done before. And of course, there are going to be some bumps in the road, but I feel like We have two people here that really work hard to bring in economic development, and I think they have a support of their board, their town councils, to actually bring things in, and we're open for business. And so I really feel like I have hope because I feel like we have a team, and I think the team is a good team, and I think everybody's interested in economic development, as well as family tourism and all the other things that come with a good community. So I really feel good about being in Brunswick.
I am hopeful because I believe and have seen it my whole life that God's timing is perfect, that he puts the right people in the right situations together for his purpose. Sometimes we don't realize that for another 10 years and we think he doesn't know what he's doing, but God's purpose. I am hopeful because of partnerships. We have partnerships. We are all rowing in the same direction, Lauren. We have Alfreda and I, which you've heard us say that a bunch of times. Moana. We have people, I can't tell you what a partner Lauren has been. She may not speak well, she likes in public, but she is a strong fighter for us. Small Business Administration. I don't know, and the new partners here, I don't know if you've heard about me, but I've got your numbers. So we depend on, you too. We depend on our partnerships. And we're, like I said, we're family now. I mean, we 10 o'clock at night, my phone rings, my wife's like, who's that, Alfreda? So we're available to business. So I thank you all for being here. Mike, thank you for the opportunity to spotlight. And again, developers, get in here while it's still available. It's going to get expensive. Thank you.
That's a good one. Larry Moore?
I think, hope is something that means so much to all of us in different ways, but really is a synergy. And I think the hope of what I've seen is people are starting to listen more. Between 9/11, I'm going to be 61 years old. From 9/11 to COVID and everything in between, we have started to listen. I've been dealing retail for 40 years, and I met a lot of arrogant folks, a lot of people that didn't listen. People are now listening in different ways, and we don't see as much as life is all about me. It's about us, and I'm seeing that more and more. And it comes from a lot of different angles when you think about it, but I think we're all striving to make things better. I thank God that I live in this country, that we have military, doctors, nurses, state troopers, all those people that are still giving us in this crazy world are still getting up every day to help us, regardless of perception. And I just can't thank it enough. And I think that if we just keep listening, we got a lot to accomplish very shortly. And I think if you don't realize it, this shortage in the job market, 40,000 jobs are open or whatever the number is, crazy, right? We are now looking at, again, I use the word real life program. If you don't know what it is, look it up. It's out of Richmond. The HEART program is out of Chesterfield. These folks have been looking for jobs, but were always pushed away. And Check the Box was always on applications. I remember going to Rosalind Dance back in 14 or 15 and saying, we got to get rid of that box. It just stereotypes everybody. We've gotten rid of that. And we are now looking as employers for anybody that can help us. And that could be some of those folks. The Opus Network works with handicap folks. I hired a woman, Mike, I think you met Moana, is blind. I hired her a month ago. It's so much as possible. Autistic, Down syndrome. There's a workforce out there more than we realize. So me as the Better Business Bureau, I am bringing that market, those job pool of people, gene pool, to you as an employer. So think about that.
All right, thank you. Really quickly as we get out, Brody, let people know the name of your business really quickly. You came down here and shared with us.
It's Integrity Marketing. We're the ones who just get you found online. So once you have broadband, all the different areas around, what we do is really streamline the website experience, really customer experience and things. But that's what we do at Integrity.
And it's not integrity like I was saying.
Yeah, it's just Integrity Marketing.
Integrity. Alrighty. So ladies and gentlemen, make sure you check him out. It's a good guy right there. We'd like to thank Alfreda for having us come down. The meaning and the idea of this was the collaboration to connect Richmond, Tri-Cities, and Brunswick. So if anybody wants to reach me, we always got a place on the radio program for you. The program is On the Mic with Mike. You can find me at social platforms, Mike King Biz, as well as On the Mic with Mike RVA, and that's On the Mic with MIC. And people said, where'd you get the name of the program? I like Bad Boys, and I needed the name of a show. And I just on the mic with Mike, okay. And so that's where that came from. But the idea of it is to give a platform to businesses and nonprofits. So if anybody wants to get any word out there, if you know of a nonprofit that needs some help, just send them our way. So thank you. All right, see you. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. This overfills my heart to see the partnership, the collaboration. I see everybody's kind of passing business cards and networking. That was the intent, was to bridge the gap. Brunswick County is a resource, and we are a source for RVA, North Carolina, all around, all of our surrounding areas. And so we want to be that business, that opportunity, that county that can help be the solution to your problem. I do ask, as we bring this to a close, we would like to get a picture over.
Oh, that's what I was getting ready to say. Everybody get a thank
So, but we want Mike King sign on one side, we want Anchor Inside on the other, so that we can commemorate this great moment. And then we're going to have lunch. The museum upstairs is open, the St. Paul's College Museum. St. Paul's College is still an asset to Brunswick County, even though the campus is closed. Many of us are alumni. It is near and dear to our heart. Many of the artifacts and the history, the legacy of St. Paul's has been saved and put together in the form of our museum. The Smithsonian has taken a look at our museum, and they have partnered with us. So the Robert F. Smith Center has now plans to digitize our museum along with some monies from Microsoft. So we are grateful. The museum is open upstairs, and so Bobby Connor, our assistant, vice president of the museum committee, is here to provide a tour so that you can understand the richness and heritage of Brunswick County, inclusive of St. Paul's College, because we cannot exclude that, because that is a huge part of who we are, and we cannot forget who we are. And so with that being said, if we could take a picture, you can come up for a tour, and then lunch will be provided. And again, thank you so much.
Wait, can I give a shout out?
Yes.
Or can we give a shout out to your assistant, Beth?
Yeah. Yes.
Alrighty, so ladies and gentlemen, it takes a lot to put on something like this right here, a lot of moving parts. So we'd like to just thank you for keeping me in line and you know, making sure everything happened. This is amazing, this is outstanding. You hit a home run, I really appreciate it. Thank you,
Thank you, Beth.